The last team in the AFC North, Mike Tomlin's Steelers. Man, the Steelers are 8.5 right now, and I like that number. I really do, but I think they're going to go over. They went 10-7 last season. I have them going 10-7 again. I think it's a repeat of what they did last year. They have the second hardest schedule in the NFL, so that's going to be tough. But I think what they did last year with Pickett, managing to get them to 10 wins, that's kind of overlooked. Like what they did last year was
made the
impressive.
Playoffs.
And I'm sometimes I'm a Steelers hater,
a little bit.
But right now I'm going to eat a little bit of humble pie, and I'm going to admit that what they did last year with Kenny Pickett, it was impressive. It was. They got to 10 wins. Like
yes.
they did what. That's just a credit to Mike Tomlin. He's just that good.
Correct.
I think with the additions at quarterback, with Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, however that plays out, it's going to set
Justin Fields is
Pickens,
going to be the quarterback, right? At some point.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And I hope he helps, or Russell helps him, it coaches him through being a rookie. And kind of, I know he's not a rookie anymore, but sometimes he plays like a rookie.
Starting over, yeah.
So, yeah, he's starting fresh, and I hope Russell Wilson kind of trains him up. I think this is going to set Pickens up to have George Pickens up to have a really solid breakout year, that year that we all hope that he's been destined for. I think this happens this year, whoever is at quarterback. It has to, right?
I tend to agree. I think this is one of those teams that it boils down to the coach. We've talked about so many teams coming down to the quarterback. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. And if he was ever going to have one, last year was going to be the year, right? Last year was the year it had to happen. And it looks like it's going to. And then somehow, some way, he just gets that team to fight to 10-7 and make the playoffs, and was in a competitive playoff game against Buffalo. Like, they lost handedly, but it was a close game going into the fourth. Mike Tomlin's a great football coach. I've been a little tough on him at times just because I've said to the Steelers, are you happy constantly squeaking into the playoffs and getting beat? Because that's what they've done for the past 10 years. But these are their stats last year. Defensively, 6th in points per game, 21st in yards per game, 17th in pass, 19th in rush. Offensively, it was bad. It was just atrocious. 28th, 25th, 13th in rush yards offensively. I think that's going to be improved. Maybe the most overlooked storyline of the entire NFL offseason, to me, is the Pittsburgh Steelers hiring Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator.
It's big.
I know Atlanta and the whole Falcons situation did not go as planned. I was a big fan of Arthur Smith. I thought he would succeed in Atlanta, okay? I was wrong. I don't know why things went awry there. I think a lot of it was, using players in the wrong spot. But we've seen from his time at Tennessee, Arthur Smith was one of the better offensive coordinators in the league. So you cannot tell me that bringing him in with this offense, Najee Harris and Jalen Warren are still there. They're both going to have a good year. I think the offensive line is probably improved from last year. And I think, obviously, even if it's Russell Wilson, the quarterback situation is improved from Kenny Pickett. I think Justin Fields is going to be the quarterback. I don't know if he'll start, but Russell Wilson's been injured, and Justin Fields has been getting all the one-team reps.
It's looking like Fields. One thing I will point out is the Steelers were 20th overall in time of possession last year.
Wow.
I think Arthur Smith has to improve that, because you look at that left column of what you just read off, it's bad on top of bad on top of bad on top of bad.
Yeah.
It with the time of possession being so limited, that defense it weighed on them. And yeah, they were good. They were ranked, I think, 7th overall by PFF. I think they actually improved this year. I'll tell you why. Joey Porter, cornerback's got another year under his belt, right?
Yeah.
So
and he was solid last year.
He was solid, but he also has another year now and an off season. They also added Pro Bowl linebacker Patrick Queen.
Oh yeah, that I forgot about that because we talked about the Ravens losing him. That's a huge addition.
That's a big addition. They also added safety Deshaun Elliott. So again, I think this defense takes a step up and maybe finishes in the top 5 defenses this year.
I agree,
because now that you have a competent offensive coordinator in with competent quarterbacks, I think that you have a better shot of staying on the field longer in the offense, which makes your defense better because they're rested.
There should be a more balanced team with a better defense.
Hopefully. hopefully. And that's
it's
why
hard to not look at it and think they haven't improved on both sides of the ball, right?
Yeah, and I could argue myself and say that, well, hey, Ryan, you have them at 10-7 against what they did last year. I get that, but their schedule wasn't as hard as it is this year.
Correct.
So while they have gotten better in both categories, offense and defense, I still think with the counterbalance of the schedule being much harder and the teams that they play being a lot tougher, I think that this makes them come back to still 10-7. And 10-7 is not bad. You can get a wild card game with 10-7.
They did last year. And
yep.
I agree with everything you just said. Probably makes for a less interesting show, but I'm not going to lie for content.
Never stopped you before.
Well, hey. But tonight I have honor, my friend. Most nights I don't. Until proven otherwise, you just have to assume that the floor with a Mike Tomlin team is 9 wins. Because they've never had a losing season. So that's just the absolute floor is 9-8. And even that would be over. So this one's an easy one for me. I just hope Justin Fields gets a chance sooner rather than later, because I think even though I'm not like a giant Justin Fields fan, I obviously think at this point in their respective careers, the upside is higher with Justin Fields than it is Russell Wilson. And I think Arthur Smith is going to have a field day with both of them. But even if Russell Wilson's the starter, I promise you Justin Fields is going to be in packages. They're going to use him. I'm sure both of them will be on the field at times. So that way the defense is going to have to, account for it. Maybe you do a jet sweep, hand it off to Justin Fields, and then he's got the opportunity to pass it or run it. He's one of the most dangerous runners in the league. So this, I might be biting my tongue here, but this could end up being a fun offensive to watch. I'm excited to see what happens, and I think they definitely win 9 or 10 games.